Guys. So that's Swiss cheese. You got some milk right here. You guys see that little glass of milk? Milk. Milk seems to be on the top of the list out there. And then you got a little bit of coffee. Why not? A little bit of coffee. A lot of people drink coffee. Got an egg right here, but I got some really nice eggs right there. See these? Free range, pasture, fed, not caged. What's this right here? Okay, that's a steak. That's grass-fed beef right here. So take a look at this. That's grass-fed beef right there. Okay? You see this one right here? That's a piece of pork. That's white meat, pork. Like, right? Really good pork. That's what that is. You guys see this? Okay? It's a little bit of gristle in there. That's a pork, that's how pork works. You get a little bit of gristle. You got a little bit of that saturated fat, right? Okay? So you got, oh, all right. Let me move this block of hard cheese. You got a heart attack. But that's not what this talks about. This will fucking kill you if you're sick with chronic illness. You won't make it long if you're sick with chronic illness with this in your diet. Okay? Anybody who gets sick someday and they're eating this and they get sick someday, they're going to be like, where do I go? Where do I go? All right, but that's not what this is about. That's not what this talks about. I call this out because you don't want to be eating this when there's a superflu around. You don't. You don't want to be eating this when a superflu is around. Your mucus will be quadruple. If you got mucus problems in general because you struggle with all kinds of different chronic illness, your mucus will be over the top. You'll be drowning in phlegm. You'll be at the doctor on antibiotic after antibiotic after antibiotic. Maybe that's what you want. Whatever. Maybe that's what you want. I mean, I support all doctors. Not all antibiotics are bad for certain situations. I've said that forever. But the point is, I've always gone at the antibiotics for Lyme disease, though. The doxy, all the doxy they dumped into women in the late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, 90s. Do I date myself? Am I dating myself? I was helping people out in the 80s and the 90s, helping them out with their health. I watched people with Lyme disease, and I watched what happened. So the doxycycline, boom, 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 they hammered it. It was just horrific, like a crime for the women with Lyme disease all through those years and the decades. Destroyed a lot of lives. But I'm not anti-antibiotic for certain things in a crisis state. I've always been supportive. But what I'm saying is, it's this food right here. When you have in your system, I don't care if it's raw milk, I don't care if it's pasteurized, I don't care if it's skim milk, I don't care if it's 2%, 1%. The flu virus will gobble it up like no tomorrow and eat and eat and eat and eat. Your fever will rage, and maybe you don't have the super flu, and you got the other flu, and you cough it out in 5 days, and you're good. But regardless, any flu loves to feed off of this. I'm not saying don't, if this, if you're, see, and don't get me wrong here. This isn't propaganda. This isn't vegan propaganda. Vegans have screwed a lot of crap up. They just have. Okay? And the animal protein people screwed a lot of things up. And the raw plant-based movement screwed a lot of things up. They just did. They nutted themselves to death. So if someone had an illness and they had to go raw plant-based because they were so sick and they had to go raw plant-based, didn't mean they did it right, didn't mean they did it medical medium style. If someone went, if someone had to, because they're sick, you can do things wrong. You can do things wrong eating meat. You can do things wrong eating plant-based. You can do things wrong eating vegetarian. You can do things wrong doing anything. But what I'm trying to say is that when you're sick with the flu, I don't care if you're eating the healthiest stuff in the animal protein world. You got to back it down. If you got a fever, you do not eat meat while you got a fever. You got a fever, you don't eat cheese while your body's trying to fight that bug. You got a fever, and hey, maybe you get past the bug, you're fine. But B-U-T. A year later, you're in the doctor's office with autoimmune disease because that flu knocked you down. You haven't been eating good. You're eating a high-fat diet, and now you just get in line, and you're sick with chronic illness. Nobody cares. No one gives a shit. No one cares in the health realm, in the health world, who's trying to get people to eat this or that. No one cares. That's just how it works, right? So I'm saying you don't eat milk. You drink milk. Eat it, whatever. You don't touch milk when you're sick with the flu. I would even stay away from some of these things while the flu is about, while it's around. I'd stay away from chicken because there's a bird flu they're cycling out there. And it's possible the super flu and the bird flu might mate. They might mate. And then boom, we got something else. Because they, T-H-E-Y, they want people sick and they got a lineup of flus coming down the pike. And I really predict next couple of years, this isn't the end of the flus, just this flu season. Next couple of years, they're going to be throwing other ones at us. And they're going to be looking for the lucky break they can find, which is one that is just devastating. But here's the sad part. The super flu is devastating because probably like 20,000 people died already from the super flu. Probably like 30 children died from the super flu, which is a horrific, just terrifying, unthinkable. So it already is terrifyingly bad on that level. But you arm yourself with the right tools and you take care of yourself and you look out. You can protect yourself and not have to get really sick. And that's the key. So I wanted to run by some of these foods right here. Stay away from cheese if you're dealing with the flu. Stay away from milk if you're dealing with the flu. You know? Stay away from milk. Oh! It's spilt. Stay away from Swiss cheese. Stay away from hard cheeses. I would, if you got the flu, stay off the grass-fed beef. Stay away from it. Do some healing broth, medical medium healing broth. Take care of yourself. Do some fruit, medical medium healing broth. Steam some potatoes. That's the way you protect yourself. Flu virus doesn't eat any of that. Do some cucumber juice if you got a fever. Flu virus doesn't eat any of that. Do some celery juice if you can. Make sure you're doing your fresh lemon water. Bring that in. Bronchial broth. Bring that in. Medical medium bronchial broth. If you're sick, you do these things and you don't eat your meat. Don't eat cheese. Don't eat milk. Stay away from chicken if you're sick with the flu. These will help the mucus get worse. These will help the virus make more mucus. These will get you in trouble. And so you want to avoid them. Avoid eggs and the whole bit while you're sick with the flu. A lot of people will scramble some eggs while they have the flu. But everything changes over time. It's death by 1,000 cuts. The evildoers put the flus out purposely so that it weakens you one day, you recover, weakens you another day, you recover, and then all of a sudden, you got cancer down the road. Because they've just been chipping away at your immune system. That's what they do. So that cancer gets sped up. So that autoimmune gets sped up. So that other things get sped up, or your Epstein-Barr. And that's why they do it. They put the flus out. So the flus chip away. And you recover from the flu and you push on. But you got to take better care of yourself and not fall into the trap. And so stay away from these foods if you're coming down with the flu and during the flu. And maybe even consider, if you are eating some of these foods, look into the medical medium information, look into Cleanse to Heal, look into the Brain Saver books, and look into those and see how you can incorporate all the medical medium tools into your meat-eating diet, into your plant-based diet, because plant-based people, man, they'll still do stuff all ass backwards. They'll do it all wrong for their condition, for their symptoms, for their conditions. So you can incorporate the medical medium tools into whatever diet you're in. You'll learn about what's the bad stuff to avoid and so forth. So you got